Thank you so much, Roly, and thank you all so much for your time today. I'm really glad to be here. As Roly said, I'm Hannah Tellier. I'm working and living in Ottawa, in the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe. I do some climate organizing around Ottawa. I've worked in the past with Fridays for Future Ottawa, organizing the Climate March, supporting Seniors for Climate, um, supporting cafes, Ottawa. So um, I'm here, there, and everywhere. And I'm really glad to be going through a really powerful tool today, Canva. It's a free tool. It is relatively easy to use, or at least easy to learn, so we can go through the process of learning it together today. Um, you'll find that as we go through it, it's much like PowerPoint in the way that it works. So if it seems completely brand new, um, PowerPoint, it kind of has its roots in PowerPoint. So um, I have a background in communications. Um, so doing different digital media, newsletters, social media management, content generation. That's a lot of the work that I do with different climate groups around, is managing social media accounts and generating that content. And I think we can all see, and we have all seen, in October 1st last year, for example, that social media can be a super powerful tool in terms of reaching new audiences, helping to get people out to your events, um, even just reaching into a community and spreading your message, right? So it is a super powerful tool, and imagery and graphics that we can create to accompany that only strengthen the work that you're able to do. So all of you are already doing incredible climate organizing, and the better that we can communicate that to your audiences, the more that we can increase your engagement, increase your event attendance, build up newsletter lists, for example. So social media is a powerful tool. It's a tool to an end. Um, so let's dive right in. I'll begin to share my screen. And I'm seeing a comment from Lori in the chat. If you apply as a society, Canva gives you free access to files that are in templates that are usually pro with a fee. Yes, so that's a great point. And I'll note as well, if you have questions as we go, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll also spend some time at the end of today's session going through your questions. So don't worry, we'll hold some time for that. Today we're really going to go through the basics of how to use Canva um, and generate a graphic to be using on your social media. And we'll walk through step by step all of the different functions that you can use on there. The second part will be about how we then take those graphics and put them on social media, whatever account you're using. So today we'll go through Facebook and Instagram. Great, so let me share my screen now. And I'm going to choose this one to share. Okay, so this is canva.com. I hope you can all see my screen, and please excuse the crunchy and crackling in the background. I have two very silly kitties who might make an appearance at some point during our call today. You are always up to something. Oh my. So here we are on canva.com. In order to use it, you'll need to create an account. In order to do that, we'll just go in the top right-hand corner and click sign up. So as you can see, I have a couple of different accounts here. We will pretend that I do not, and I will create it from scratch. So I'm gonna go ahead and click continue with another account, or you might just see a button on your side that says sign up. I'm going to click continue with another account, and then I'm going to choose continue with email. So you can go with Google. So if you have a Gmail account, that's an easy way to do it. If you have a Facebook account and you're logged in on your computer, that's an easy way. It'll just automatically connect to your Facebook. And that's great because you can do some streamlined sharing, which is cool. Or you can just use your email. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to use one of my email accounts here and continue. And I'll just enter my name here. You might want to put in the name of your organization. I'll hit continue. It has sent me a code, so let me find that and plug that in here.
And the code comes to your email, or it goes to your phone? Just to the
Yes,
email. That's all you
great,
gave them.
great question. This has gone to my email, that Google address, the Gmail address that I gave them. So I've just entered in that code for my email, and now here I am in Canva. So you can see there's a couple of different options. It's asking me, what will you be using Canva for? So personal, small business, large company, teacher, not-for-profit or charity, student. None of these perfectly align with activism, but typically I'll go with the not-for-profit or charity because that is the closest possible option. So if you're in a nonprofit that's registered, it's free. I'm not in this case. I'm going to say I'm not in a profit. Um, I'm not going to opt in to any of those emails. So here we go. We've got some confetti, and I am looking at the home page now of Canva. So you can use Canva quite well for free. There's also a paid option, which is quite affordable, and then you can share that with your team of organizers. But you can actually get along quite well just using the free version. And that might be a good place to start, especially as you're just exploring the tool and trying things out. So as you can see here, there's a row of icons for different pieces that I can create. So documents, whiteboard, presentation, social media, video, print items, website. So you can really build a lot with Canva. Print might be posters or banners. Presentation is like a PowerPoint type of creation there. What we're going to work with today is social media. So I'm going to click social media. And now it's opened up a bit of a dialogue for us here. So up at the top, it's giving me some examples of different social media products that I can create. So I can create an Instagram post, which is a particular size, 4x5, so a bit of a rectangle, a vertical rectangle. There's a Facebook post, Instagram story. So these are just different formats that you can be using for your social media. Um, Things are quite flexible now, so I will typically use an Instagram post size across all of my platforms just to keep things easy. I only need to create one design then. So I'm going to click that size. And here it's creating a blank page for me. There we go. So I have a whole new world awaits me here, my blank slate. Um, Here, it's giving me some options for templates. I would say this is maybe the best thing about Canva is the ability to start from a template. And that way you're not building from scratch every time. You can take a look through different examples, right? And go, okay, here's a couple of different examples of what an event invite might look like. So I'm just going to type in event and search that. And here it's giving me, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit as well. It's giving me a couple of examples of what an event invite might look like. And none of them, maybe none of them feel 100% right um, for what I'm looking for, but they're a good place to get started, and then we can customize. So I'm going to go for this template with the global warming, not only for for its topicalness for us, but also just um, because it's a bit of a simple template that we can work from here. And sorry, let me zoom right in. Okay, so here's what we're starting with here um, as a template for us to build on. And so as I'm clicking around or just moving my mouse over the screen, you can see that as I hover above different objects, there is a purple outline that's happening as I hover over them. So I can interact with any of these different pieces um, of the um, of the template of my social media graphic. And just like PowerPoint, We're working with text boxes for the text, and then different images for the image. So if I want to move something around, all I've got to do is hover over it. I can see that it's going to let me interact because it's got this box outlining. I'll click, and then just by dragging around my mouse while clicking, I can move around the different elements and text boxes, for example, or the images here. So let's start customizing this. We'll say that I am organizing a march, just as an example for for my social media post. I've got that event to publicize. As promised, there are my cats. So first, let's start with the background color. So you can see we're working with this kind of beige color. So I'm going to hover over the background, and you can see now the whole page is outlined in that purple. So I'm going to click on it, and at the top of my screen, these different options appear. So if I hover over this this colored dot, it's telling me that's the background color. So I'm going to click on that, and it's giving me some different options here. So it's showing me the different colors in the document. Okay, so we've got this bright green, we've got this black that are already present on the graphic. Here are some of the colors in the photo. Here are some kind of default solid colors. I've got some gradients to work with. I can also use the color wheel here to pick a new color. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to, I'm working in an orange color here, so I'm gonna grab the slider at the bottom where the rainbow is, and as I start to slide that, the color is changing. So let's go with a nice blue. So I'll stop there, and then within this this color selection box, I'm going to move around this circle. You can see as I move it around, the color, the background color of my graphic changes. So we'll go with a nice blue. This is actually looking like the branding already for Seniors for Climate, which is fun. And here, let me zoom out, and you can see that's changed the background color of my graphic. So that's already looking a little bit more bold and interesting. Next, we'll take a look at the font. So again, like PowerPoint, these are text boxes. So I can add them, I can edit them. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So if I want to change the text in any of these boxes, I'm just going to double click. Now you can see that the text is selected, and I can begin to type. So that's how I'll go ahead and edit the text on the screen. So let's go with an example like "you're invited to," and I've double clicked on this next box so I can go ahead and edit this text as well. A global climate march. Okay, and now my text is a little too big here. So if I want to decrease the text size, I have a couple of options. I can see that the text box is selected. So to shrink it, again like PowerPoint, I'm going to hover over the corner of the box and click it and drag, and that's allowing me to shrink or increase the size of the text. So that's one option. Another option is let me select all the text in this text box, and then I've got these options at the top of my screen. So first is the font. I can click on that, and this opens up all the different font options for me here. So I can scroll through and see the different fonts available to me. Let's try something nice and bold. Okay, great. So that allows me to change what font I'm using. The next box is the font size. So again, kind of like PowerPoint or even Word, I can increase or decrease the font size. I can choose a font size by typing it into this box and hitting enter. So that size is looking good, but still my letters are running into each other. So we'll look at how to fix that in a moment. But let's keep going along the line. The next tool here is the text color. So if I click on that, again, we're seeing the same options for color selection. The document colors, colors that are present in the photo, some defaults, and our color wheel, so we can pick a new color. Personally, I think the black is looking really good, so I'm going to leave the color as is. Next, we have some standard text options, things like bold, italic, underline, strike through. So just your typical text editing options there that can help you create maybe a little more dramatic effect. Yeah, I quite like the italics, so let's go with that. And again, that's underline and strike through is what's next. Next is uppercase. So if I click this, I will put all of my text into uppercase. So I click it again, it'll go into lowercase. I quite like it in uppercase, so we'll go with that. And then next is alignment. So this, currently I can see it's aligned to the left. If I click that, it aligns to the middle. Let me expand this text box so you can see that effect a little better. So again, we'll go back to the alignment. I can align it to the right. I can, I'm not sure what this option is called, but it's the one where you don't leave any spaces. So that's great. And then if I click all the way back through to the start, I can see my text is aligned left again. So you can just kind of click through these options, see what you like the look of best. I think aligning to the left looks great, so we'll go with that. The next option is list. So if you're trying to do bullet points, which might make sense a little later in the graphic, we'll use this to create a bulleted list or a numbered list. So that's that option there. The next option is spacing. So we're having a problem here where our words are running into each other. So this spacing option is exactly what I need actually. So I've got two options. The first is letter spacing. This is how much room is between the letters. So if I increase this, you can see the space between the letters grow. If I decrease it, you can see the space between the letters shrink and everything gets really squishy. Typically, you know, a font will be designed to have enough space between the letters, so I won't touch letter spacing at all. Line spacing is the space between the different lines of text. So as I increase it, you can see that increase and then decrease. So that's better. Now my global climate march is not, you know, the letters are not overlapping, and I can read that clearly, which is great. This last option here is, do you want to be aligning your text to the middle or to the bottom? So if I now write something more here, you'll see that it's writing downwards and expanding the text box downwards. Whereas, let me just go back. If I were to anchor it to the bottom, then I will type something more, and you can see the text is moving upwards instead. So just lots of options for you to work with. The next option here is transparency. This is less applicable for text often, but sometimes more so for photos. Working with this option, 100% is you can, it's very opaque, but as I decrease the transparency, you can see the words start to fade away here. So that can be quite an interesting effect sometimes for a photo, or even for text perhaps in some cases. Great. The next one we'll look at for text editing is effects. These can be quite fun. You might be familiar with some of these options from Word. Word used to have very similar effects that you could apply. So I find most of them are actually not very useful, kind of fun, but not very useful. Ones that I really like are Lift. This adds a bit of shadow behind the text so that you can read it more clearly. It pops out more, so I don't know if you can see it darkening behind the letters, and then lightening, darkening, lightening. So especially if you have a busy background, um, using this lift function really helps you be able to read the text, kind of provides a visual pop. Another helpful one is the background option, which, as you can see, has created, uh, a background to the text. So that can be quite helpful. And then you can fiddle around with more specific functions there. So I can turn up the roundness, which makes it more round. I can make it less round. You can see the lines become quite square and sharp. So I'll say this a lot tonight. Honestly, with Canva, it's a lot about, I would really recommend just kind of logging on and playing with the different buttons and seeing what all these things do. Um, and that's the best way to discover it is just to kind of explore. So those are all of our text editing tools here up at the top. We can get a little bit fancier with Animate. We'll probably take that on in another workshop where we talk about not just creating static images but creating videos. Videos do perform better on social media. The social media algorithms just prefer it. So that can be a good way to get more impact with your posts, is to just switch it to a simple video. But we'll get into that another time. I would just say the last thing here is a Paintbrush. So again, like Word or PowerPoint, this just allows you to copy the style of the text that you have selected. And then by clicking on text elsewhere on the screen, I can paste that same style. So I'll click here on June 13, 5 p.m. and you can see it has put it in the same style. So that's not, this is not the style that we necessarily want for that line, but it's helpful. If you found a font that you just love and it's working so great, you can just use this paintbrush to copy the style from one text box to another, for example. So I'll just hit back up in the top left-hand corner, hit back. There we go. And we can see that. I've got this problem where I've got this overlapping graphic here, and it's striking through my word. We don't want that. So we'll look at how to fix that in a second. But I think first we have a hand raised. Did I see a hand raised? Yeah, Letitia.
I was asking about how to get rid of that yellow strike across.
Aha! Okay, there you go, Letitia.
You
Fabulous.
read my mind.
Yes, yes. Great minds think alike. So yeah, let's keep editing this so that everything is working a little bit better on this page. So as Letitia's pointed out, we've got this yellow stripe going through here, and that's not helpful. So we have a couple of options. First, I'm just going to move things around a little bit on the page so we have more room. I can select multiple text boxes or just multiple items on the page by clicking anywhere on the screen. And you can see I'm starting to drag this big box over top of everything. And it's allowed me to select everything. And now I can move that whole group of items together. So that's helpful when you're looking to shift more than just one item. So in this case, I'm looking to shift these text boxes down here so that they're out of the way and I can work with the other text box. So we'll move those out of the way for now, and I'll move this a little out of the way. We'll do some rearranging in a moment. But now let's finish adjusting this. So I've got this cool underline. So to fix this, I can just click and drag and move it. And in order to I'll just rearrange this the way that I would on a graphic. So I actually would like this to take up a little less space on the page so I have more room for other text. I'm just going to decrease the size of my font. Okay, that's a little better. So I'm going to drag this upwards. I've got more room. And now I can use my underline and move it around like that. I can also increase the size of it just by clicking and dragging on the corners here to increase the size. And then something that is really helpful with Canva, you can see down here we've got this photo of a woman in front of kind of this fun green background. And I like this background. It adds a visual pop. And the photo of the woman is just layered over top of it. So if we're having a problem where this line is over top of our text and we want it behind, or if we have a picture and we want it over top of something else, we're just going to work with the layering. So I've clicked on this photo of this woman, and you can see it's selected with this box now. I'm going to right click, and here we can see a whole bunch of options have opened up for us. So I can copy, and that's just normal copy and paste. I can copy a style, again that's the paintbrush function that we just saw. I can paste, so whatever I have on my clipboard currently will paste onto the graphic. I can duplicate, so if I were to duplicate now, I've got 2 pictures of this woman. I can just delete it right off the page. And you can see all of these things have keyboard shortcuts too, so instead you can do Control-C for copy, Control-V for paste, and you can hit the delete button on your keyboard to do any of these things. But like we were saying with the layering, if you want one item or one image on top of the other, we're going to go to Layer, and since she is on top of the background, I can't bring her forward any farther. But let's take a look at what it looks like to send her backward. Okay, not much. Let's hit backward again. Okay, not much. We're gonna hit backward again, and I don't actually know why that's not working there. Layer, we're gonna send backward. Okay, so now I can see this other item is on top of her. I'm actually just going to hit delete, get rid of that item, and let's hit layer again and hit send backward. Aha, and now she has disappeared because she is the layer below this green background. So if I move this, there she is. But I can see my little green blob is over top of her now. And in order to get her back on top of that blob, I'm going to select it. You can see it's selected because the box appears. I'm going to right click, click on layer, and now I'm going to send this blob backwards. Send backward. There we go. And now I see her on top of it again. I can adjust the blob behind her so that I'm happy with how it looks. And that is layering, and it's a really fun way to be able to help make things pop or incorporate multiple elements on a single graphic. So this is looking pretty good so far. I'm going to do a little more rearranging. I'll include this information on this next line. You can see how I'm just rearranging things by grabbing the edge of boxes and stretching them out, or clicking and dragging them. So that's looking pretty good. I'll move this here and here. Great. All right. So not bad. That's coming along. So now let's take a look at what lives on the sidebar here. This is what's really great about Canva, is these tools that they've kind of built in for you. So the first box is the design. So those are the templates that we were looking at. You can see my search still is there for event, and it's showing me just all the templates related to that. Here's what we started with for this template particularly. Next is something called elements. So this can be all kinds of things. This can be different shapes, different graphics. These are stickers. They look like just little animations, for example. You can generate things with AI if that's something that you'd like to do. You can include photos. These frames are, you insert them onto the page and you can put a picture within them, so that's pretty neat. You can add video, audio, charts. So there's really a lot that you can do here. To get started, I think a really great place to start is some shapes, for example. So let me just click on the first shape here, which is just a basic square. And now just by clicking on it, it's been thrown here onto my page. And then just like any image, and like you would see on PowerPoint, again, I can click and drag this around. I can resize it. Yeah, you can see all the different resizing options. Up at the top, I can change the color of the box. Here's where transparency might be cool. I can make the box more or less transparent. So again, just a lot of fun different tools to be able to use here. So another cool thing that you can do is search the elements for something that you're looking for. And this is nice, especially for climate. You can look up something like megaphone if you're looking to include a megaphone on your graphic. So let me search that, and here's a couple of graphics. I've got some photo options, so I'm just gonna click see all on graphics, see what options we have here. You can see some of them are pro, so I would have to pay to be able to use these. There's also lots of good free options. I can see this one doesn't have pro on it. I'm going to go ahead and click and include this megaphone option. So we're having another similar problem here where the megaphone was behind the text. You can see it's still behind some of that text there. So I'm going to right click and go to my layers, and I want to bring it all the way forward. So not just one layer forward, but I want to bring it right to the front so nothing else is on top of it. I'm going to click bring forward, and then I'm going to resize it, and let's just put it up in the corner here. So that can be a really fun way to add different elements to your graphics, and they're free to use. So that's it's like a whole library available to you. There's a question from Susan in the chat. Do you zoom out to make it larger just by touching the corner? So Susan, I think this is a question to do with resizing the pictures. Is that right? If I'm understanding your question correctly, the answer is that if you're working with a picture or graphic or even the text boxes, to make them larger, I'm going to click on a corner, any diagonal corner, and just drag. And that is what is going to make it larger or smaller. I can resize it as I need. Great. There's also an option. You can see it pop up here. It looks like a little circle with arrows, and that will allow me to rotate it. So I can spin it around in a circle and get the angle just right so that it fits more nicely on my graphic there. Great. Perfect. Let's keep moving along the bar. Yeah, Rolly, go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to give myself permission to ask a question. Is that okay?
Please. Yeah, of course.
I've worked with Canva before, but I usually I don't know how to use it that well. But I noticed that you've used like a template. Is it better to start with a template or with a blank and build it up? Because I've done it the other way, and this seems a whole lot easier.
Yeah, so I would say I usually like to start with a template, even if I end up changing the template a lot and the end result looks nothing like the template. I just find that it's almost a good way to find inspiration, right? If you have not made a graphic before and you go, okay, I could just put a couple of things onto the screen here, but I find that usually the templates are pretty good, and with some adjustments, you can make them work for your purpose. So I usually like to start with a template and then kind of build from there or edit from there. Yeah. Okay, great question. We'll keep going down the line here. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. I'm trying to get us wrapped up around 7:30 Ontario time. Lori, go ahead.
I was just wondering if maybe Susan meant to to expand the whole poster or the whole picture, and that's
Oh.
on the line at the bottom, right? That you can make it bigger or smaller.
That's right. So great question. To zoom in on the page, there is this slider at the bottom, and you can see the percentage go up as I drag it right and make it larger. As I drag to the left, it gets smaller. I can see the whole thing at once. So that's a great, sometimes you want to zoom out and take a look. Okay, how's the whole thing looking? Then you want to zoom in a little bit so you can see better what you're doing close up. So great question. Thank you, Lori. Great. So Elements is another one where it's great to go through and again, just kind of explore, right? Go through, you can think about it as almost like scrapbooking, right? Like click things, see how they look, resize them, rotate them, change the color. So this is, this is fun work when you can be really creative with it. And yeah, I really encourage you to go through and just see what some of these things look like and do. Next is text. So we started with some text on the page, which was very helpful. But maybe I want to add additional text here. So very simply to add a text box, I can see the box here in purple that allows me to do that. I'll go ahead and click on that. And you can see a little text box has popped up on the screen that says your paragraph text. I can drag that around. Again, I can make that larger, smaller. In the top left-hand corner, I can change the font. And again, there are some really fun tools that allow you, that show you different text or font combinations. So again, I really encourage everybody to explore. But in terms of very simply adding a text box, there it is. I've got a new one on the screen now, and I can add additional text. Again, I can also right-click on any element and hit duplicate, and now I've got a second one of that same text box. So lots of options there in terms of adding additional pieces. The next one, if you're using it paid, it can be quite helpful to have the paid version. It allows you to have a brand kit, logos, colors, fonts. Again, I typically find that unless you're using this for a very specific group where you do have specific branding, you can typically you can go without, but that's what that item is there. Next is uploads, and this one is really fun because you can, sorry, here's my cat again. This allows you to upload your own images, for example, or videos. So let's see what that looks like. Letitia, you are asking, is it possible to just create a frame around a piece of text? Would you mind popping on and just explaining that question a little bit, Letitia?
Yeah, I had a text that I created in another piece of software, and I just wanted to create a text that would fit around it. I tried using Canva, and it just didn't work. I uploaded the text, and the templates that were provided were so fancy and complicated, and nothing allowed me just a simple frame.
Yes, I hear you. So you're looking for a frame to go around text, eh?
Yeah, I can upload the text into a box, and I just want a simple frame.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. I hear you. So what I would recommend then, Letitia, is I would recommend going to Elements, and I would look up something like frame. That's giving us a couple of photo frames. That's not quite what we're looking for here, because what that holds in the middle there is a photo. There's a couple of different options for graphics. Those look like actual frames, so they're not so useful.
Okay. My problem was I went to templates instead of going to Elements. Yeah, okay, I get it now.
Yes. Okay. Okay, great. Right, so let's take a look at uploads. So this is really helpful if, for example, so this is just some random person in my template, and maybe I've got a speaker at the Global Climate March who I really want to showcase. So I'm going to delete this photo of this person. Here is the photo frame that she was living in, which is why she was in that nice, that's what made her photo a circle, was using this frame here. So I'm going to delete that as well. And now I'm going to upload a file. So I have a photo on my computer. So this is pulling up my file explorer from my computer. And I'm going to go to my downloads. And I'm going to scroll down. And I have this photo of Naomi Klein on hand. So I'm going to upload it. So to upload it, all I did was click on her photo and then hit OK. Now you can see, here's a tiny little Naomi that I've uploaded, which is great. So I'm going to click on her, and here she is. She has popped into my design, which is great. Again, the text is in front of her. I don't want that. I'm going to right click and hit layer and click bring forward, bring forward, bring forward. Okay, great. So now the text is behind her. Something that I love with Canva is this option called background remover. Unfortunately, that's a pro function, but it can be really useful. And what that would do, it would just cut out the photo of her, so it would just be her outline with no background. So that can be really useful. But again, since we're working with the free version, let's take a look at what the frames look like here. So I'm going to pick this fun, funky one. And now you can see this little rolling hill and clouds. To get Naomi in here, I'm going to click on her and just drag her into this circle. Now you can see it's as if her photo has been cut out in that shape because I've placed her into that frame. Again, to make this larger, I'm just going to click on the corner and drag it. Okay, that's looking cool. But her head is a little bit cut off. I don't like that. I'm going to click, and I can see, okay, the photo is a little too small in order for, I can move it around a little in here, but not much. So I'm going to make the photo larger, larger, larger. You can see her getting bigger, and the frame remains the same size. And I'll just drag her to fit within this frame. So it really is like working with a real photo frame and just moving the photo around until it's just right and you can see it through. So there we go. I'll click off, and now there is Naomi in her frame, so that she can fit on our Climate March graphic. And I see, Letitia, you've got a question, please.
Yes, twice now you clicked and something happened and it was too fast for my old brain cells. So one, how did you get the photo into the frame?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get it into that yellow circle kind of thing, and then into the frame you've chosen?
Yes, I see. Okay, so great question. So let me delete out the photo of Naomi, and now you can see we're back to the frame, which is just it's just a placeholder. It's just a shape, and it's waiting for us to put a photo inside. So now I'm going to go back to uploads, and here's my photo of Naomi. So I'm going to click on it, and that puts her on the screen again. Now I'm going to click on the photo of Naomi, and you can see I'm moving her around the screen, and just by dragging her over the frame, you can see now it's kind of, the photo's gray a little bit. And if I let go, she's popped into that frame. So all you have to do is click on the photo and drag it over top of the frame and then let go. And it should just pop right into the frame there. So I hope that answers the question, Letitia. Do you have...
It's magic.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, so now you know, we've played around. This isn't the most cohesive graphic in the world, but we've added some interesting elements here, and it's a good example of how some of these different elements work, which is our purpose. So what I would say is that just to kind of close out this piece, and now we'll look at downloading this as a photo and uploading it onto social media. To To close out the Canva portion though, I'll just say that typically, you know, we're looking for big and bold graphics, right? Something that's going to catch attention, that doesn't have too much information. The font isn't too small, so you can read it easily. You have to remember people are going to be typically looking at this on their phone, so we want it to be really nice and easy to read and really kind of pop. So go for readability, go for clarity, go for bold images. So this, especially when you're designing for social media, you've got the option to write your whole caption, right? So not everything needs to go onto the graphic itself, just the key information. Great. So now on Canva, your piece will save automatically, which is great. So as I've been going, I haven't had to click save at all because it's working online. You need to be connected to the internet for Canva to be working. And so it saves automatically as I go, which is great. Up at the top here, right beside this Try Pro for 30 days, this is the title of my design. So I can change this just by clicking in here. You can see my cursor is blinking, and I'm going to backspace, and I'm going to write whatever the title is for my design. So Global Climate March 2025, and now that's the name of my design. So now if I go back to Canva, and all I've done, it's this little 3 lines, a stack of 3 lines in the top left-hand corner. And if I hover over it, it says open menu. So I can hover over that, I'll click it, and you can see I have an option to create another design. I have an option to go home, and I'll click on that just to show you. That brings us back to the main page where we first started here. And now this has saved as a design. So if you're looking for, you know, where did my designs go? Worst case scenario, you just go back right to the start, canva.com, and it'll bring you home. And you'll be able to see where your design is. There we go. It's called Global Climate March 2025. That's great. I'll click on it. And this is where, there we go. So now we can see it's saved exactly as I left it. Brian, go ahead, and then we'll look at how to download.
Can Seniors for Climate poster be my template?
Yes, absolutely. So when the amplification kit is shared, all of these skills are going to be super transferable. So last year, for example, with the amplification kit, there were Canva links, and you can go in and using the different tools that we've just looked at, you can customize it, change the text around, add your own photos, so you can use them as your template for sure.
And other question, can a oh, I forgot the name, the thing you take a photo on your QR code. Can a QR code fit in there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So with a
It's
QR
wonderful.
code, yeah, with a QR code, you can save a QR code to your computer as a photo, and then you can upload it. And I think actually, let's see if it's, let's see, aha. So if I go to the bottom option here, apps, there is an option to make a QR code. There we go. So design a QR code. So it looks like there's an option to actually create it right within Canva, which is great. So 2 options there. Either Canva can generate it for you, or you can upload it just like we did the photo of Naomi Klein. Fabulous. Okay, great. So now let's look at the last step here. So we have made our graphic. And so how now do we download this and put it onto our social media? We're going to go to the top right hand corner here, and there's this button that says share. That's where we're going to go every time to download. So I'll click share, and if I look at the at this top left hand icon here, it says download. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to click download, and now it's giving me a couple of different options. Typically, I will just let Canva decide these. PNG is a type of image file, so I can use a PNG. But you can see when I click on this drop-down menu here, there are some other options. Maybe you've designed something and you wanted a poster, so you can download it as a PDF for print. Maybe you have made a PowerPoint slide, so you can download it as a PowerPoint. So lots of different options depending on what you've created. As you can see, PNG, it's a photo, and it says here, best for complex images and illustrations. I always use PNG when I'm downloading a social media graphic. So I'm going to stick with PNG. I'll keep the size the same. I'm not going to worry about any of these other options here. They've got the little crown beside them, so I would need Pro anyways. And then once I've gone through all these options here and not worried about actually most of them, I'm going to click download. So there's my little progress bar. You can see it's working hard. Aha, here it is. I can see that it's downloaded. I'm going to go to my File Explorer, and here it is. Let me increase the view size here. Now I can see that it's downloaded. Global Climate March 2025. Here's Naomi. If I double click here, it'll open up, and I can see it.
We can't see that because we're only looking at your other shared screen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lori. Sorry, I'm not in my share settings right. Let me adjust that. I'll just do screen number 1. Okay, let's try again. Can you see my download folder now?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. So now you can see in my download folder in the File Explorer, there it is, Global Climate March 2025. If I double click, it'll open it, and I'll be able to see it there, which is great. So now, how do I get from my download folder onto my social media? So let me put my File Explorer over here, and I'm going to now I'm going to log into my my Facebook. I'll just bring over the screen here. So here's my personal Facebook, and you can see just on like you would on a page. Actually, let me show you on the Fridays for Future Ottawa page. This will be better. Great. So to create a post like normal, I am going to click on what's on your mind, and that will allow me to write in whatever my caption is for my photo that I've just created. So maybe I'll say something like, join us for the Global Climate March. Great. So this is whatever you've chosen to write here. Maybe you use some hashtags. Maybe you include some other organizations. So once we're happy with our caption, now it's time to add the photo, the graphic to our post. So down here at the bottom, I can see add to your post, and this first icon looks like a little photo, and if I hover over it, it says photo video. So that's great. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to click on that, and then it's popped up this box here that says add photos and videos. So I'm going to click on that again. And there we go. Here's my File Explorer. It's popped up, and I'm going to go to my downloads. I can see that there's my graphic right here. I'm going to click on that. Once I've clicked on that, you'll know it's selected. It's got the check mark in the top left-hand corner. I can see now the name of the file, Global Climate March 2025. Okay, I know that's the right one. And I'm going to click now open. And there we go. So I see my caption, join us for the Global Climate March. And then here is my graphic, which I've now added. And then if I click next, I can see a preview of what my post is going to look like. So again, here's my graphic in teeny tiny. And then here is my caption, so that's good. And I'm going to click the blue button at the bottom, post. Now that's posting. Facebook is asking me if I want to make it an event. We're just going to go ahead and say no. We're just going to continue, publish original post. Continue would create an event. I don't want to do that. I want to publish it the way I intended. So I'll click publish original post. And here we go. Now if I scroll down, I can see that it is posted on my Fridays for Future Ottawa page. Let
So
me,
if you'd wanted to, you could have added a link, for example, if you had to register for it or whatever.
exactly. So you can put whatever in your caption. You can put your website link. You can put a Zoom link. You can put a link to register for an event. So whatever you'd like to write in there, whatever the requisite information is there, including links, for sure, you can put it in there. You can see here's my graphic. I'm going to delete this just because this is our public facing page and that's a fake event. So I'm going to delete it. But Letitia, over to you for your question.
Is it best to use Google Chrome for this kind of thing?
That's a great question. I personally use Google Chrome. I imagine that it would be very similar experience if you were using a different browser. So I think up to you. I'm not sure that it would make a huge difference.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry.
Does it work the same if you're using Mac?
Yes. So since Canva is a website and not a software that lives on your computer, it's just like Facebook will look the same on different phones and computers. So will Canva. Canva will work the same. So I know PowerPoint works differently on Mac versus PC, that type of thing. But since it's a website, it'll work the same whatever you're using it on.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, great question. Lori's saying she uses Firefox. Also, Lori, this is a wonderful poster. I'm just gonna share it on my screen if that's okay. So here's a wonderful example of a poster that Lori's put in. And you can see a couple of different things that we looked at, right? The QR code, here's the shape, a couple of different fonts, some different elements, right? So photos, you can see Lori has uploaded her own photo here, just like we did with Naomi. She's used a background on this text, rotated things to be at different angles. So this is a really fun example of what things look like when you layer them. And I think this shows some really great work here. Yeah, Sherry.
What kind of a link would you use to get people to register?
That's a great question. And I would say it depends on your event. So if you're having a webinar, say, and you have a guest speaker at your webinar, then maybe you would use the Zoom link to register for that. If you're having a march or an event and you're posting on Facebook, I would say you could either create an event on Facebook or you could use an external link. So there was some talk earlier tonight about Eventbrite, for example. Or you could generate a link directly on your own website and have people directed to the website for the organization that you're working with. So it really depends on the type of event and where you're holding it. So yeah, sorry, I hope that answers the question.
Typically, what we use, Hannah, is registration through Zoom link. And we've also got an account with Action Network and sometimes use their particular forms as well. Great.
Yeah, that's a great point. Another really popular one is a Google form. So
Yeah.
I know Fridays for Future Auto was using a Google form to register. So yeah, it depends on what you're comfortable with using, the type of event that you're running, whether or not you have a website. Yeah, okay, Letitia.
Can you stop sharing, Hannah?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, okay. There's another question in the chat. Can you show again how to insert a link into an email? Sure. Sure, I can.
So I asked you to stop sharing too quickly.
No problem. No problem. While I'm getting that up and running, Letitia, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, one of our problems is how to get more of our members even onto social media and helping us amplify and spread the word, like, so that it's not just our members getting the message through email, let's say.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I would say with social media, the power of social media is often meeting people where they are. So if you're finding that there's not a lot of engagement on a particular platform, for example, Instagram, not everybody uses Instagram, maybe Facebook is better. So yeah, it's tough, right? Trying to get things out there. I'd say if you're trying to amplify your post and get more reach, which means more people are seeing your post, using hashtags is a great way to do it. For example, hashtag climate, different related keywords, tagging similar organizations, commenting in the comment box is another good way to try and get a little more engagement. And then in a future workshop, we'll look at small fine tuning that you can do to get more engagement, including making short videos rather than a static graphic. And that actually can be just as easy as a static graphic once you're comfortable using Canva.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, so let me share my screen again really quickly. Here I am on my Gmail, but it will work similarly for all kinds of emails. So I've written in my email body, please come join my event, and let me use, I don't know, the David Suzuki Foundation website as an example. So to grab the link from the website, I'm going to click in the navigator in the top here. And now you can see davidsuzuki.org is highlighted in blue, so that's great. Now I'm going to right click and hit copy. Or you can see on my keyboard, I can also hit Control C, but I'll just click copy, and that brings the link with me. Now I'll go back to my email, and I have some options here. Either I can just right click and hit paste. Oops. And I'm going to hit paste as plain text. Oh, I guess that's not going to want to work for us. Okay. Well, it's a teeny tiny little link, but there it is. So by hitting paste, you can insert it there, and that will work. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to actually insert it into the text. So hyperlink your text. So in order to do that, I'm going to highlight the text where I want someone to just be able to click on this sentence and go to the link that I'm sharing with them. So I will right click, or sorry, I will highlight the text. And then once I've highlighted the text, down in the bottom, and this will be similar for different browsers, you'll look for this, I'm sorry, that's teeny tiny. There we go. Maybe, yeah, there we go. You can see this, this icon. And when I hover over it, it says insert link. So that's what we want to do here. We want to insert the link right on top of this text so that someone can just click on please join my event and the link will work for them. So I'll click on that and you can see it's saying to me type or paste a link. So now I'm going to click, right click there and use my option to paste. And now I've pasted the davidsuzuki.org link. And the last thing I need to do is just click apply. And now you can see it's blue, underlined, And what that tells me is that when someone clicks it, it'll bring them right to that link. So now I'm clicking on it, you can see it's showing go to link. And if I send this to somebody, they'll just be able to click on that. It'll send them right to the link that I've shared with them. Great, Lori, thank you so much for coming. Letitia, I see you have another question, so let's go to your question, and then we'll wrap up.
It's more something I discovered I could do in my word processing software in Pages. I can use an image and hide a URL behind it.
That's a great point. Yes, so you can link not only text, but you can link an image. So if you insert an image into an email, using the same process, you can insert a link on top of that photo, so that if I, reading your email, click on the photo, it'll send me over to your link. So great point, Letitia. That's a really helpful thing.
So thank you very much, Hannah. You have created what, another dozen or so, or 20 or so Canva experts. So thank you very much for that. We will be holding more of these as we work through 2025. Hannah has accepted to do more, and I hope all of you got a lot out of it. And Hannah, thank you, and a little round of applause for Hannah here.
My pleasure. Thank you all so much. Experiment, have fun. We'll do more sessions like this in the future, but I hope you enjoy. It's creative, and yeah, can't wait to see the things you create on Canva.
And as I
This
said,
was so useful.